Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals On The Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry, continuing our draft recap and review and getting familiar with these players. As about the time you are watching this, the Bengals will have rookie mini camps. We'll see these guys for real in Bengals uniforms. But if you want to know what to expect and get an idea for how they play and maybe form your own opinion and watch tape for the first time on these guys, which many of you don't get the chance to do, that's what the series is doing. We've done all of the players up into Jalen Rivers today. The left tackle, left guard, he's played both equally at Miami. I think he looks like a guard, but he's the size of a tackle. So he's an interesting player to watch. I think athletically more of a guard, but sometimes these big, long dudes, which he definitely is, his wingspan, arm length and stuff, even for offensive linemen, put him in the, I was going to say offensive tackle, but for of all offensive linemen, it puts him in the 88th percentile. So he's got very, very long arms. You see that in his body type when he's nearly 6'6" and 320. So good size and very patient, calculated blocker, I think, in a lot of ways. Just if he had a touch more athleticism in him, he probably would have been a much higher pick, right? So we're going back to 2023 for a game to watch. One of my favorite games to watch, and a game I watched on Bengals on the Brain. This may make it 3 times, maybe 4 times, because Jared Verse is in this game, which is why I wanted to watch this one for Jalen Rivers. Braden Fisk is in this game, which is why I wanted to watch for Rivers. You get a chance to see him take on both of these guys multiple times. These were 2 of the best rookies last year in the NFL. So if you're familiar with them now, it's good to get that for an evaluation purposes, but also because Matt Lee is at center for Miami in this game. So a lot of guys to touch on and talk about. Even if there's not anything going on with Rivers on the play, we can divert our eyes to somebody that we're familiar with and hopeful for Matt Lee as well. So here's Jalen Rivers. He's 21, fresh 21 in this film against Florida State in 2023. At left tackle, he's at left tackle all of 2023. There's only one game I want to say, maybe 2. I think there was 2 games in 2024 where he was at left guard. But in this game, he is right here, left tackle, number 64. If you're interested in Matt Lee, of course, he was at center. And then you'll see Braden Fisk, 55, and Jared Verse, I want to say, is right here. So I can't see the number on there, but I think that's where he was when I remember. Lots of good players to watch from this game, but eyes focused on left tackle, number 64, Jalen Rivers. And no one to block right here, right? As he's got a little play action going on. He's eyeing 15, wondering if 15 is going to come. And then we got a nice deep pass to start the game from the 1 yard line for Miami. It's not open, but I enjoy the aggressiveness. Like to see that out of the Bengals once in a while. I want a 99-yard play, 98-yard play, right? They're rare, but I would love to see one for the Bengals. All right, we're going to go back on this. I want to show here as Rivers is going to combo block with his guard on Braden Fisk, number 55 there for Florida State. You're going to see him get low, drive through there. Meanwhile, his eyes are up, right? Both guys' eyes are up because whatever linebacker starts attacking, they may peel off. And go get them. So good communication between the two, but they drive Fisk back pretty well. I think Rivers is a solid power run blocker. We got a stunt where he ends up on Fisk here. I want you to see how quickly he gets out. If we can get that captured. If you can hear the garbage men coming, that's a lot. They're loud for me. I hope the mic's not picking it up. But the garbage does need to get picked up every once in a while. So Jalen Rivers, watch him here as he gets out of his stance pretty well. In fact, I thought initially watching this, always getting out so well versus going back inside. But this is actually a stunt. Does a good job getting hands, giving him to his guard, getting in position now to gather Braden Fisk. And now he's much longer than Fisk, right? Fisk is kind of a stubby defensive tackle. So you see first, his hands land first, and he's on him. Now as Fisk tries to, strong arm him and long arm him, you see Rivers get his hand back underneath into the armpit and is able to absorb just enough here to keep him from getting all the way into the lap of the quarterback. I'd like to see that play go another half second and see how Rivers would have countered it, but we didn't get there. Just enough of help here with his tight end on the D end. All right, so now that we've neutralized the D end, we can start to move on and get to number 15. And you see there, the 15 takes the fight to him with his eyes down. So at this point, did they get enough of the edge to seal it? They did. The running back has to break through an arm tackle there and picks up a decent gain. Anytime you're asking your end to block it or tight end to block a D end, you might be asking a little bit there. A little grabby from Rivers, but on the outside shoulder. But that's typical. If the play was going that way, I'd like to see how that ended. Rivers and Fairchild did not get hit for penalties very often at all. Here's where you see the limitation in Rivers. So he knows he's got help here, but he has completely turned his hips. When you see a guy completely turn his hips like this, it's not a good sign if you're evaluating or watching film. When his butt is now faced this way, that's not great. You'd like your butt to be facing the quarterback at all times, but this is saying I didn't get out there fast enough. We got a wide rusher. I need to get out of my stance and really move and try and get him around this arc. He's got help from the running back, though, which is key here because I think he lost that rep completely. People ask, what's your background with evaluating this position or that position or whatever it is? You don't let people discourage you. If you want to watch film and learn from it and take your time and figure out what's going on, do that. Okay. Little things like that. If I'm just throwing tips along the way of things I've learned over the years, doesn't mean I know everything. It just means, hey, these are things that if you want to say, did he win or lose this rep? Does this look right? Something looks odd, like that last play. Why is it odd? You start to pick it up over time. Again, we got another loss for Rivers on the edge that Verse is unable to capitalize on. You see, he just struggles to get out of his stance there. And now both hands we got one hand being knocked down right here from Verse and the other one being ripped. So, I mean, he's winning independent hands here versus a rusher. This should have showed us right there. Little stiff around the edge, but man, what a nice clean win for him. Rivers inside on the run block. We also may get some Damian Martinez, I think, in this game at running back, now that I think about it. Don't know what happened here. Don't know whose fault this is. 4 is coming. No one picks him up at all. You would think the guard should have, and Rivers would have had 55, but they double 55, Braden Fisk, and allow the linebacker to come straight through. I don't think that quarterback was expecting that at all. All right, flip it around, second quarter. Nothing going on there for our guy. I can't wait to watch Matt Lee again, to be honest with you. Like, even in these clips, quickly, Lee is so fast out of his goddamn stance. You see this? Watch 55 in the middle. Watch him at center. He is moving. That dude is an athlete. Like, all right, we are in the clear. Number 3 is running. Let's go all the way back now and get back on Jalen Rivers because he gets out there as well. So left tackle, 64. He's got to fight through some trash there, too. A little bit of misdirection. All right, now he's out in front. You see him, right? 64 on the left side there. Let's see if he gets to anyone. Not really. If anything, he accidentally runs into someone. I like to see guys in space, see what kind of athletes they can be. Again, combo blocking with the left guard here. Does a good job here to seal him off, even though that tackle looks like, we got Josh Farmer in this game too, I believe. I don't know if Farmer transferred. That's sometimes I don't want to say for sure because I don't know if these guys transferred or not previous to their final season that we get to see them. Good blocking by Rivers here. He gets out pretty well. I think he could be more athletic. You just see in his initial footwork, that first kick step and slide. I want to watch his hands. That was just me watching his feet. And let's see what he does with his hands here. He tries to latch on the outside. Does this guy break him? He does. And then he does a good job regathering his hand back inside at the chest. Now he's got one on his chest, one on his back, and he's going to try and ride him around the arc here. And he does. That's perfect rep. Despite not looking the quickest, right? Gets out there very quickly this time. Little reactive on the stunt, but good change of direction. That's why they do that drill, the mirroring drill at the combine. If you ever wonder why they're doing it, exactly that. So he pushes the end inside. Now he's got to flip his hips back to the outside and get hands on Braden Fisk if he can. And he does get him. So that looks like an athlete there when you see that one. But his arms they look so long. He really plays with that length and tries to keep guys at bay. Some people question, and then we got a run going his way here. I'm going to finish my thought. Some people question, how can you tell if Fairchild likes to wrestle and get guys in close? You can see a difference here, and it's different from guard to tackle, but you can see a difference here how far Rivers is keeping people away from him with his length. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you're micro-focused on one prospect. Once you start comparing from position, you can see different styles of how they like to use their hands and their length. And Rivers is doing a good job here because even when as he's punching that inside shoulder, even if it gets swiped the way it does right there, because the run is inside, like you want to go outside, that's fine. Can you regather from this point and wall him off? You can. And even he's got the awareness here of like the running back should be past me by now. I can actually move upfield and try and help him block. Interesting play right there for Rivers. That shows an awareness of knowing the play around you and knowing where the running back should be. Like I've run the guy around the arc. I can go now. And we're going to cut behind Rivers again here as he down blocks onto the defensive tackle, onto Fisk. With help from his guard, the guard's going to peel off and get to the linebacker. Now you have Fisk one-on-one, Rivers does. And the running back should just be cutting up this. The running back actually goes too far outside. Like that hole is there. He should have been right off the hip of Jalen Rivers. And that should have been a much bigger gain. But Fisk is able to get off that block and spin around and make that tackle. Should have never been there, though. Looked like it was going to be a stunt, maybe. Nothing there for Rivers. See, this is what I talk about when I was talking about Shamar Stewart doesn't get a lot of wide opportunities. Like Shamar was always here, or here, right? It is much harder to rush from there when you got Jared Verse, who's so wide, and he gets you can even get wider than this and get like 9, let's say if you're like out here, and get a nice running start to convert that to power, which I think Shamar Stewart would be good at getting all the way out there. But why is it a negative? Some people are like, well, he only lined up inside. You can't really truly evaluate him. Getting on Shamar Stewart a little bit here. Yeah, but I would like to see him here. You can't say that he would automatically be good out here when you don't see it that much. To say he will be better is hope. It's not based on fact because the times he did have like 120 snaps out here. He was not good. So you can't base your evaluation on hoping he would be good at the things he was not good at. But let's get back to Rivers. I just, Florida State gives these guys actual opportunity. Probably why Verse jumped in the league, because that's what the league looks like. Jumps in the league and has a good rookie year. But good blocking by Rivers here. Even though he has to get out of his stance, he's got to turn his hips again. Where's his butt facing? Midfield. He gets his hands. He's fighting with length. He's got help from the running back, but he ends up putting Jared Verse to the ground there at the end. I just like to see him burst out of his stance a little bit more. Yeah, nice physical block, one-on-one with Braden Fisk here for Rivers. Watch him get inside as Fisk jumps a gap. He gets underneath him. He's driving him. Does a good job there, and the running back hits that hole to the right for a big gain. Again, I mean, we got play action on this. Yes. Okay. So the running back here, because play action affects if you're reading run first, also a Shamar Stewart conversation, that's going to affect your ability to pass rush. But Rivers gets out of his stance really well here. And like I said the previous day, you could be jump setting and getting out on these horizontal setting. You could vertical set, C set, right? There's a lot of different ways you can go about this. He's going out and getting these guys here, especially on play action. You can get this guy to read run, slow him down a little bit, but I want you to watch how he wins here. Like, look at that's why I'm talking about like length and guys using his length. His body posture is very comfortable. Like this looks good from this standpoint. His arms could be anywhere, and he would look perfectly balanced from this perspective. Well, he has reached out and he's getting his hands on these guys. He can do that. He plays well with length. Defensive ends, when guys have length like this, it makes you feel like you are so much tighter than you actually are. It doesn't give you that space. Your steps are off. Everything's off because these guys with length get those hands on you so quickly. And Rivers is doing that here and probably frustrating that end for sure. Like that's a great rep. And it comes from him being super comfortable with his length. I didn't see what Rivers did there. I got distracted. Okay, nothing. Good play by the running back, though. Another big gain. Oh, that's a late hit, huh? You try to throw that guy down? Nah, it's all right. He didn't drive him in. He just threw him down. Rivers here with the tight end. Doesn't really get that shoulder into the end. You'd like a little bit more contact there, and then he climbs up to get to the ends up being a safety for him. But I think he could have helped out that tight end a little bit more there. Like that. That's a much better block. Good. I'm glad we got back to back with this. Okay, so now you actually get your hand on there, drive that guy back a little bit. Like you've created another yard. Now he's got to peel off and get the secondary defender. If this tight end, if you did a little bit better on that D end to help out your tight end, you might might make this gap a little bit bigger. But in the NFL, that's about as big as you're going to get. That tight end needs to sustain that block a little bit better than that. You got help from your tackle at that point. Rivers has got his guy in the second level, which is something we saw Fairchild struggle with a little bit in run blocking. And you see Rivers there? All right, I'm going to go back. Watch Rivers completely here. I'm just going to let it roll. Try to keep your eyes fixated on 64 as he's going to end up finishing this dude really well. I mean, yeah, he ends up all over him. That guy's eating dirt. And he's got to get out and get on verse as we got a fade ball. Touchdown. Watch him get out of his stance again here. Again, I like the way he is. He gets out quicker here. I like that. You see as verse is going to, he sees the quarterback's got a short drop, so he's going to try and affect this play as best he can. But as he tries to go back inside, the punch from Rivers, bang, right hand, and then left hand up. So he's controlling those rushers, again, with his length at a distance. Ooh, was that picked off? Crazy play. They're saying incomplete. Screen, they were trying to get Rivers out there. I would like to see him. So again, knowing the play, we've talked about this before, knowing that it's an inside run, we got a draw play, which I think the Bengals should run draws way more. As these guys are ripping up field on this, like run it up the middle, draw. So as Rivers gets here, he knows like he needs to stay to this side, right? You want to run around the outside, feel free because we're running it inside. So Rivers, he kind of plants his feet early and says he's inviting this rusher to go around the edge. Like, come on, go around the edge here. Easy for his running back at that point. You can tell because his stance hasn't looked like that. He hasn't set that quickly in any of his plays here before that. So you can tell he knew what he was doing. Good job picking it up. That should have been a touchdown from the quarterback bad ball. But he sees here, right? He goes, okay, you're going into the flats to cover. Check inside. Nope. Okay, it's got to be another guy here. 3 is blitzing. And he stays home. He's not chasing ghosts left and right as Florida State's doing a lot of fun stuff there to try and get a free runner. And Rivers just sits on it and takes that guy. This pass should be what I say. This should be a touchdown. This ball should have been right here. Should be leading them. Let him catch it and go. That's Jared Verse on him. Instead, you're making this guy stop, catch it behind him, and Verse makes the tackle. Nice job by Verse, by the way, to stay with him. Not an easy task for a pass rusher to drop into coverage and stay with a running back. We've got too many unblocked guys here. Don't know what's happening on the edge here. They're just attacking. Too many unblocked edge guys for the quarterback to even try and do some type of read option. All right, third quarter now. Fisk gets off of Rivers here, but it's a good run. Watch Fisk on Rivers. The guard is going to give Fisk to him. Now 70 is going to go get the inside run blitzing linebacker. 70 does a great job on this. And then you got to make someone miss for a big gain there. Rumbling, stumbling. Fisk makes it all the way down the field. That's a really good run by the running back. Oh, tackled from behind. All right, back on Rivers. Focus up, Joe. You're watching offensive lineman here. A shame again. They keep asking, is this Arroyo at tight end? Because he can't block for anything. Rivers does a good job. He and 70 are removing, I think Fisk really blocking him in there. But here are your two guys. The tackle that's pulling has the end. The tight end's got the other guy. Like, why are we missing so badly? Arroyo's if that's Arroyo, he's had a tough day blocking, no doubt. Okay, another screen here. Florida State is all over these screens, all over them. They are attacking. That should have been a run up the middle, huh? I was watching Rivers there. Rivers was handling that defensive tackle really well. Florida State, a lot of guys. Bernardo Green, right? Also last year, drafted at corner. Saw the run blitz coming. Did he let him go? He sees it coming, so he's going to take 15. This hole is here, right? If 70 and 64 can hold their blocks, Matt Lee's going to go get number 4. Yeah, that's Rivers' guy that ends up peeling off and making that tackle. You got to be able to sustain, finish those guys, drive them, especially if it's a much smaller. If it's a linebacker, if it's a safety coming up, I want you to eliminate them. I feel like that's bad ball skills by the receiver. All right, back on Rivers. Picking up the blitzer coming across. Yeah, see, like, again, with length, his length is evident, man. Because watch 10 as he comes. He's going to swat this outside arm down here. He's going to reach to try and get a hand on him. If you can tell in the this is his hand right here, right? And you can see his arm, and there's the hand. He's about to knock it down. But watch how Rivers recovers. He's still able to put that right hand on him, push the guy outside. Just looks long, right? He looks so long. Florida State's really coming after him. We got a lot of blitzes here, a lot of stuff for Rivers to read. He's got Fisk on that block. I think he does a good job. It looks like it's supposed to go, this run is supposed to go to the left. And I don't know why the running back gets spooked a little bit there and ends up taking it to the right. Run going the opposite way. I still like the way he was blocking Jared Verse on that one. Maybe I just like length when I watch offensive linemen. Maybe that's just a me thing. I like guys that look smooth, use their length, play with good balance. He's got Braden Fisk here with the bulk of the duties here. 70's going to lay into Fisk and then climb to get the linebacker who misses. Fisk does a good job. You can see that arm is on 70, slowing him down. We have losses elsewhere. I think Matt Lee loses on this rep, right? This is one of the few he loses on. in this game. I remember this one now. Might have a blitz coming left side, Rivers. Let's see. That's a run inside anyways. Modest gain. We'll take that. Now it's 3rd and 4. Fourth quarter. Flipping the camera around. You got Verse one-on-one. Verse with the inside win on Rivers. Rivers gets out there. Verse has really been attacking that outside. I think at this point, Verse looks like he's leaning inside completely. Rivers, I need him to now change directions a little bit faster. Misses with that long arm. Misses with his initial punch, I meant to say, sorry. With his long arms. Misses that inside and allows that pressure on the quarterback on 3rd down. But then the next play is the backup. I think the quarterback goes into this pressure completely. This is not on Rivers. We're waiting for the running back to get out there. Rivers is doing a good job of staying with him. Again, he's allowing the outside to be there. Well, it's a screen. Like this running back, this quarterback cannot roll into that screen there. He wants that guy to go to the outside. Rivers does. Miami's down by 7, if you're wondering, fourth quarter here. So if they're throwing a lot. Oh, we've got a loss from Rivers. Complete loss at this point. He stops his feet. 10 just gives him the hands and then pulls him away. Leaves Rivers completely off balance. You can see there. He's off balance. He's reaching to the side. That's a whiff. Not sure if he was expecting a quick pass there or what, but that, because it kind of seemed like it. All right, let's watch Rivers on this one. Going in, he doesn't do a good enough job. Zero does a great job of absorbing this double team. Throwing 70 down or just losing them enough. Rivers should stay on the double team, in my opinion. Keep going with it. Allow the lead blocker to take that guy. Because then you allow Zero to come back and make this tackle at the line. Just finish the play there. Feel the guy not able to absolutely stay with Zero and finish the block. Okay, why does Verse end up on the ground versus Rivers here? He's going to go wide. Oh, because there's another rusher, maybe. But the length for Rivers, again, just looks like he's in control on this, right? You want to dance around on him. But those hands better be, if you're relying on, you could be over-relying on length too, because you don't want to stop your feet. Again, it's a good block though here. Let's see, does the punch to the outside? Okay, now Verse is going to try and chop it. Cannot. That grip strength is on there. And then that right hand is on the shoulder of Verse. You want to come back inside and rip that down. That's just good. That's a great rep for Jalen Rivers. Each time his hands are getting hit, they're either not affecting him at all, looks very strong there, or, I think it's the grip strength, or he's redirecting and getting his hands in good position afterwards. Hey, 70 with, I remember that play. 70 with the block on Braden Fisk, huh? You see Fisk in the middle here trying to arm over, and 70 just lifts him and throws him off the ground. That's right. I remember this play. Big play touchdown for number 3. They've been trying to hit the vertical shot all day long. We got a tie game at this point. No. Florida State scores right away, 27-20. So Miami's still down. And we're risking it. This quarterback is really risking it. Interesting for Rivers here as he sees 5 go back inside. He goes, okay, let me get on Fisk now. And he's got to drive. He ends up driving Fisk so far back inside that Verse kind of acts like he's going inside and then takes the outside there for a shot on the quarterback. I think Rivers did his job correctly. It's just that sometimes it's rock, paper, scissors there. And Verse did a good job. Good call that they knew that they would go hard on that. Man, Fisk with his get off, getting between both the guard and the tackle there between Rivers and 70. Makes us a very tough block for Rivers. This running back's got to see this right away. He's like, oh no, I've got some trouble. But good thing we've got that tight end coming all the way across. And these guys do just enough to hold on. Look at that whole wave that got penetration, ends up on the ground. It didn't matter. The second level guys are in there for a stop of no gain. This should make it 3rd and 10, if I'm tracking correctly here. Oh, 4th and 2. I'm forgetting to play there. All right, let's see. Quarterback's going to run for it, and he got it. I'm going to watch Rivers, though. Rivers is going to down block here on Fisk. Combo with his guard. They're going to leave the end unblocked. Do they get Fisk out of there and driven inside? They do. They got their job done. And that quarterback's down, too. Was there a penalty? It's still saying 4th and 2 on there. Sometimes that's delayed, though. And we got a drop pass potentially. Let's see him get out there. Outside hand, he's going to try and club it again. Verse doesn't get that hand there. He's just, I'm not sure he's athletic enough to really be a guy that mirrors a top pass rusher like Verse around the arc. Quick passing offense, sure, he could play a tackle. Especially in a pinch, if he's just your swing guy. I'd like him more in Cody Ford, just off what I've seen at tackle. Cody Ford's got them through games, though. So if you absolutely had to, I mean, Devin Cochran got them through a game. You can do that in the NFL for a game. Can't do that for long, though. So here's Verse. Here's the wins that would scare you. Again, he's not getting out of his stance very well, very quickly, but facing in the wrong direction. We're not very. This is young Jalen Rivers. I thought he looked a little bit better. PFF grading, though, for 2023 and 2024, very similar. So if you thought he looked better this last year, I agree. But PFF said overall he's about the same guy. Run him around the arc just enough. But again, that's a hand battle loss for Rivers. And Florida State is coming after them now. I mean, they're down by 7. We got an inside move here. Patient. All right, you're going inside. Can I change direction, get my hands on you just enough to drive you inside now? Hard to tell if that would have been a pressure. I'd like to see. Sometimes the ball's out so quickly, right? You can lose inside. And I'd like to see him redirect quicker, but it's hard to tell how close Verse was to the quarterback there. All right, screen pass. Verse is starting to make an impact on this game as the Hurricane are down by 7. Let's watch it here. All right. Again, a good, and see, so he's lost some hand battles for sure, but there has also been some good wins for Jalen Rivers here as he's being patient. He's not shooting that hand early this time. So how many times now have we seen him shoot his hand first? And Verse tries to either chop it or rip it or whatever. And this time he doesn't. So he waits patiently, now puts his hands out there. And Verse has his hands locked on the wrist here and here. Verse, again, independent hands from the defensive end. This is usually a phrase we use for offensive linemen, which we're seeing out of Rivers as well, which is, the independent hand guys really love Verse, I'm assuming, over like a Fairchild, who was definitely a two-hand puncher. And Verse is doing a good job here of getting both those on Rivers. But Rivers, I think, does a good job of not letting it affect him. He looks very strong there. Like you're getting hands on him, and you're not able to just throw him down or discard him. Oh, there's the power from Verse. Verse had rare power coming out. And you see, this is what I'm talking about, converting speed to power, because he rips off this line, right? Really gets you to open your hips and run with them. And then when you do, though, when you open these hips and run with them, you're now susceptible to that guy converting that speed, planting that foot, and driving directly through you. Really hard to anchor once your hips are turned that way and your butt is facing more of the defensive side of the ball. Verse getting low. Look at that angle. Driving underneath Rivers. And the ball is out. Very nice rush from Jared Verse. 4th and 10. This could be the final play for Miami's comeback. He's got to get outside on Verse. Does a good enough job. The quarterback, this is the backup, it looks like, right? Just can't move, can't do a thing, and it's an interception. So that was Jalen Rivers from 2023 versus Florida State. Why did I pick that game? Because originally we're going to do the best game. And then I said, when I was watching Fairchild, how about the best evaluation game? It's getting murky because some of these guys, we don't have a ton of games to choose from if we're looking for tape. But that game, I'm like, all right, you get Jared Verse. versus Jalen Rivers. I mean, like, that's great. You want to see him versus the best competition. And I thought he was fine overall. He definitely had losses that you do not want to see at the next level. He graded a little bit better as a pass protector in the following year in 2024. But in this game in particular, so if you thought this game was okay, he had some wins, he had some losses. Definitely, to me, if I'm just saying what I thought, maybe you guys agree or not, he moves like a guard. Love that he uses his length. His hands look like they're good. He seems to not be panicking or really in retreat mode too often. But he definitely doesn't get off his stance quick like a high-end athlete. If you agree with those things, and like, yeah, he's okay. I could see, the upside. That was his worst game from PFF by far over the last 2 years. The worst game he's had. So now you go, okay, it wasn't that bad. Considering that's his worst game, I can see. So if you get to watch some other games, and I'll post some others on Twitter as well. I still have to do the other Dylan Fairchild by the time this is out. I'll do the Dylan Fairchild versus Ole Miss because that's a good game. But Jalen Rivers has some other games that I'll post on Twitter as well, at Joe Goodberry if you're not there, that are just much better. And because I don't know if you've listened to any other analysis on Rivers, but a lot of the O-line guys will be like, he's very steady, consistent, but also almost boring to watch. You've heard multiple people say, I think Mike Potts said this in some post-draft interviews, that it was boring to watch. So I wanted to find the game where he has the most action and maybe some losses mixed in with those wins. And I think this game represents that. So if you were okay with this and can see the upside, this was his worst performance, which is also how I did Dylan Fairchild too. He only was charged with 1 sack, and we watched the game and watched that sack. And we're like, hey, that's the 1 sack. We're doing great. So you can see it with Rivers. And I am curious on what they're going to do with him and his development plan and where he fits in. Because I think he's got just as much upside as Dylan Fairchild does. And if it was an even competition, I wouldn't be shocked if Rivers beat out Fairchild at left guard. And we'll have to see. Maybe in preseason, Fairchild's like the starter at left guard, and Rivers comes in amongst the depth. Maybe it's the third, fourth quarter at left guard, and we get to see him there. I wouldn't be shocked if he outplayed him in many ways. So very curious. Is this the Mohamed Sanu 3rd round pick, Marvin Jones 5th round pick scenario? I don't think they're too far off. I think it could happen. I felt this way about Carter and Knight. I said, don't be shocked if Carter is better than Knight. I don't think that's crazy. I'm not expecting it. Again, I don't expect Rivers to be better than Fairchild. But if it happens, I don't think it's crazy. They're not that far off from each other. There's a lot to like about Rivers. Our scoring sheet said Rivers actually has a better chance of hitting a quality starter than Fairchild does, but Fairchild's going to get the opportunity and the reps. And it's not like you rotate in offensive linemen. So it's a little bit different there. Overall, though, on Rivers, one of their best picks, maybe their best pick of the draft, considering value and upside and versatility to play multiple positions. He should stay in this league for a long time. And I like this one. This is my favorite. And Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. The next one is one of our funner episodes where we'll get to watch Taj Brooks, their last pick. And then we're going to move into undrafted guys. Seth McLaughlin. People are excited and want to watch that one. I can't wait to share what I have seen so far in the game that I want to share. So it'll be a fun time for that too. But catch us on Friday's episode. I already said Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm rambling, trying to close the show. Until next time, Uday.
Bengals fans, tired of the same old post-game chatter? Want real insight beyond the scoreboard? Then you need Bengals on the Brain with Joe Goodberry, presented by First Star Logistics. Joe Goodberry isn't just a fan, he's a die-hard Bengals football analyst. Every week, Joe dives deep into the Bengals game film, breaking down the plays that mattered, revealing hidden strategies, and uncovering the true impact of individual performances. Get ready for post-game analysis like you've never heard before, player evaluations that go beyond the stats, and the most in-depth Bengals draft coverage on the internet. Don't just watch the Bengals, understand the Bengals. Subscribe to Bengals on the Brain with Joe Goodberry on the First Star Media Group's YouTube channel. Get smart, get obsessed, get Bengals on the Brain.